this is actually really popular in our space right now, and that's this movie called Leave the World Behind. So it was premiered at the end of November, and just a quick overview of the movie. So it's a family goes on a vacation, and there is just a massive cyber tech that affects the world, not the world, but the United States. And my point of view from this is I went ahead and watched that movie.
Yeah.
I watched it. It was depressing as crap. I mean, I was very, very, very shook from what I saw, but I really wanted to pick out some of the predictive programming stuff in there. Now, if you're like me and you believe certain things about the entertainment industry, it's kind of the evil people's way of showing them what they're going to do. And I mean, there's several things in media. There's countless examples of this, but there's actually a word for this. It's almost like this weird satanic karma, right? It's called the revelation of the method. And that's actually the coined term about this kind of stuff. And it just absolves them of any bad karma because they like, hey, we told them. We told them it was secretive, but we told them. So there's a couple other examples that I just want to share. There was right before the pandemic, there was a movie called Contagion, which pretty much was the COVID playbook and that showed everything. And actually, back in like early 2000s, there was an X-Files continuation of just a different series. And 9 months before the 9/11, there was an episode about how they had a remote-controlled airliner take out the World Trade Center. So it's there. And so I'm just gonna just kind of pick out some of the things that I found really interesting. So the guy who played the new Blade, I forgot his name, something Ali. He is kind of like the antagonist. He's a big money manager. These people were staying at his Airbnb, and he came back and was like, "Hey, yeah, spoiler alert. Sorry, if you haven't seen the movie yet, you're not missing anything. It was a crappy movie, but I mean, definitely watch it." So
it's more of a documentary,
right? It's almost like here it is, man. Right. But so one of the big things that he talked about, and I really feel like the people who wrote this, and let me, and I know we talked about the Obamas were already the ones who produced this movie, but Barack Obama himself had direct influence on how the script was being written and the feedback from the writers. So he had direct hands in on this. So one of the lines he said, "I'm a money manager for some big defense, contractor guy. He's really rich." And he said, what did he say? Somewhere. So he pretty much gave him a warning that like, this is going to happen. Yeah. And I'm going to take off, but good luck to you. And he was like, he was joking like there is no cabal that when they said this, I was shook. There is no cabal of people that run the world. No one does, which means the complete opposite
right.
that an evil cabal does run the world. And especially if you got Obama in here, that's definitely definitely it. So that was kind of what the opening scene is that there's a rich guy. He knows what's going on because he's like studied the market. He's big in defense contracts. He's seen all the writing on the wall, and now it's playing out, right? And just a little side note on this movie, there's a lot of really anti-white dialogue from the dude's daughter.
You said it's called the Leave No Behind or
Leave the World Behind.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of really, subtle racist jokes. Julia Roberts was like this just angry saleswoman who
Julia Roberts was in this?
Yeah, Julia Roberts was in it, Ethan Hawke, Kevin Bacon.
I see that.
And the guy who's playing Blade.
So apparently it's #1 right now on Netflix.
Yeah, dude, this is wild.
I think they made it #1.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, I'll tell you the background on Netflix a little bit later when I get through all this.
Go ahead, man.
So
continue on.
Again, a lot of anti-white dialogue. There was a dancing scene there where Julia Roberts was drunk and she just did not dance at all. Very good. So they were taking a lot of shots at white people. It was kind of funny.
Oh, I see.
And so much so there was a line in here where his daughter was telling her dad, "If the world collapses, everything goes under. You can't trust anybody, especially you cannot trust white people."
That's an actual line?
That is an actual line from the movie itself.
Wow. Okay, so you know what's interesting? Sorry to cut you off.
No, it's fine. Yeah,
this is what I'm finding out right now is that on Rotten Tomatoes, Metacritics, and all these popular movie rating sites, they're all like above 70%, right? 75, 67, 6.6, average, right? You go into the actual reviews, it's at 1.9.
Oh,
okay. You look at audience rating summary. Majority, I'd say about 80% of all the reviews are 1-star reviews. Like,
look at that.
It begins as an interesting view. Now I normally pass any reviews. This is a terrible movie. Blah blah blah. You actually go to the actual reviews of people who wrote it on Google, and I don't necessarily trust the Google reviews either because a lot of them are bots. But overwhelming 1-star review across the board.
Yeah,
it is crazy. It's weird because most normal people see stuff like this and go, they know this is all full of crap.
Yeah.
you know, like you and I. But it's this the Hollywood elites, the journalists, the conspirators, right? All the people in the inner circle of the globalists and the technocrats, they all think this is great.
Yeah.
Which is wildly like
Yeah.
delusional.
Well, no, supposedly the number one film on Netflix.
Right.
Well,
Supposedly.
I think it's that for a reason, because obviously you probably got your regular Netflix watcher, but then you got people like us and people who are tiptoeing, being like, "Wow, this is really it's a really jarring thing." And guys, remember, we did a video probably about 6 months to a year ago about how Klaus Schwab was saying that the next big thing is going to be a cyber attack.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Yeah.
And this is how we're showing. And not only that, but the week when I started writing this yesterday is when the PLA conducted that cyber attack. So I was almost like in this paranoia. I'm like, oh my God, it's coming true right now.
Right. Well, you have to realize that all form of entertainment at this point is some level of propaganda.
Yeah.
It always is. It's paid by some special interest group, a corporation that wants to disseminate some kind of message, program. It's called programming for a reason.
Yeah, right.
It's meant to program our minds.
Right.
And so at this point, anything that comes out of Hollywood, I'm like, You know, there's a few, right, that I'm like, oh, this is really good because it's not being funded by China, not being funded by globalists.
And that's very rare.
Yeah, Top Gun, which actually was not funded by the Chinese investors.
Oh, wow.
That's why it actually was very patriotic in its theme.
Oh, that's really surprising.
Right. Yeah.
So,
it's very interesting.
We'll keep going there.
Yeah, so I mean, there's just a bunch of stuff that I took away from this. There was a scene where a leaflet dropped that was, leaflet drop. So in psychological warfare,
Right.
it was something that we did. We would just drop it from like a helicopter or whatever. They dropped it from a drone, and it had just a leaflet saying like something and probably in the indigenous language.
Yeah.
Don't join the bad guys. This is what's going to happen. We'll help you do this or that. But there was ones in there. So there was actually 2 instances of these. One was in Arabic that said "Death to America."
Wow.
Oh wow.
The other one was in either Kevin Bacon said it's in Korean or Chinese. I don't know. and he said the character that shared that with him was out on the West Coast, so in San Diego. So East Coast got the Iranians, West Coast got the Chinese. So there's that. So again, another psychological warfare tactic. They also took shots at Elon Musk in this movie. They took shots at Elon Musk in this movie because the Tesla self-driving stuff was going all haywire and crashing into everything. So that got hacked as well. And I have some stuff that I saved on Twitter that I want to share with everyone that was one of the big things. So this is like the movie poster, if we can see this here. And whoever the smart guy did, Ball, right?
Yeah, right.
Oh, wow.
So there's that, but that's not it. There's another one. Let me find it. This is funny.
funny, yeah.
When your new Netflix movies conditioning people to accept the future chaos that helped you create. And then this one too. This was pretty interesting. Someone caught this. So six right here.
Oh my
Interesting.
gosh.
So again, another instance of, this predictive programming stuff. And I mean, I am just so blown away. And there's one thing I really want to just highlight here. I know we're running out of time here. There was definitely a lot of anti-human dialogue. So like we're parasites, like all the animals started coming back. There was flamingos in the pool and like deer showing up. They weren't scared of humans. Kevin Bacon was the prepper. There was instances of microwave weaponry that paralyzed everyone because it was so loud. One of the it was like Havana syndrome. One of the kids' teeth started actually falling out because of the microwave weapons that they were using.
Is this characterized as like a scary movie or?
No, man, I don't really feel like it was a horror movie, right? But it was just a movie that
like a thriller.
You didn't know what it was.
Yeah, I mean, it really didn't have a category. It was more just like, bro, this is gonna happen.
Yeah. So what's the big reveal on this? I mean, this is all okay. So here's the theme that I'm seeing: anti-human, anti-white, anti Elon Musk apparently, I mean, literally like people who are like this, people like us talking about this stuff, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's got obviously
so
globalists written all over.
But here, the big reveal obviously was, Barack Obama and Michelle Obama having a president of our country at one time for almost a damn decade had influence on this script.
Yeah. So there's actually multiple producers. Barack and I'm looking at International Movie Database right now. It's legit. Yeah. Barack Obama, Michelle Obama are 2 of the executive producers. There's other people like Peter Cohn, Chad Hamilton, Lisa Roberts Gillen. There's other executive producers, but what that means is that you can play the executive producer if you actually bring money in.
Oh yeah,
You can actually, if you are one of the funders or you have some creative direction as far as, I mean, it just means that you put money in the movie, right?
Right,
I mean,
right.
you funded part of the movie and you have a say in terms of the creative direction.
right.
And the fact that, I mean, this tells you everything you need to know about Barack's and Michelle's intent,
Right.
and their beliefs and philosophy of what they really stand for, what their messages are.
I mean, I don't think we need to talk at all about how woke Disney and Netflix both are, right? I mean, even Netflix, man. I mean, didn't they have a TV show where like little girls were
cuties?
Oh, cuties, yeah.
man, like just stuff like that. And
It's messed up.
so it's like, again, I'm not surprised. Nick, you mentioned something about Netflix. I'm curious to hear what that is.
So okay, so there is some connections with some stuff as far as Netflix, like how it founded. But I just I really want to highlight one thing in the script, in this dialogue that he said. So with the antagonist, the money manager, the guy who's working with defense contractors and stuff, he literally had he had this scene with Ethan Hawke in the car, and he said this is what's happening. It's a 3-stage maneuver. Sam, this will resonate with you.
Yeah.
That can topple a government. First stage is isolation, so make everyone deaf, dumb, paralyzed as possible. Second stage is terrorize, so the microwave attacks, the leaflet drops. I'm getting goosebumps talking about this. And the third stage, he pretty much said it happens on its own, and that's like civil war, coup d'etat, collapse.
right.
And so I don't know if you guys remember, Yuri Bezmenov was talking about this kind of stuff back in the 80s.
Right.
He was former KGB, and he was laying everything out on how this is. There's a lot of parallels with this. And so
For sure.
one thing and they also said it's the most cost-effective way to destabilize a country. Now, I want, and I'll get into the end of the movie because I hated the ending, but I really want to highlight something about Netflix just in general. So I don't know if anyone knew this or not, but the co-founder of Netflix, Mark Randolph, is the great nephew of Edward Bernays, who is the godfather of propaganda.
Yeah.
And he's actually the nephew of Sigmund Freud, who believes. So Sigmund Freud. So
Edward psychologist.
Yes. So Edward Bernays is his nephew, and he was a firm believer of Freud's foundational idea that people's unconscious minds lead them to be easily influenced. Without knowing.
I'm
it.
telling you guys, I said this earlier. All form of entertainment at this point is some level of propaganda. It's all designed to shape public opinion, public relation, public thoughts, subtle. Very subtle ways, right? I mean, things that we believe in that are not true, and we're like, hey, why did I think that way? They all came from some kind of programming from TV shows, movies that, in a factual sense, are not simply true. So, with that said, any closing thoughts from you guys on?
Nick,
this,
what do you got, man? This is your segment.
So I mean, just the ending of the movie really pissed me off because there was nothing. So there was a scene where a bomb went off in New York. You hear gunfire in the distance. So obviously it's probably invasion, right?
Yeah.
This little girl found her way into the neighbor's house, and they had a bug out bunker, right? So she found the bunker, ate all their food, and then on the screen, one of the screens, it said the White House is under attack. This is under attack, and she goes there, watches the season finale of Friends. Like that was her thing throughout the movie. She wants to see the season finale of Friends.
Weird.
And the movie cut off right there.
Jeez.
I'm like, okay, so that's not a movie.
Yeah, right.
A movie has a happy ending most of the time.
Yeah.
Right? A movie has some kind of resolution.
Yeah.
There is no resolution here. And this is what I can say about this movie. It's one of two things. One, it's predictive programming telling us that this is what's going to happen. Or two, it's going to fearmonger everyone into, just a catastrophic state of fear for everyone. And the fact that this thing is trending, this is #1 movie on Netflix. And how many users on Netflix? Millions of people are watching this stuff. Internationally. I don't know, man. I don't like the way this sounds. I'm not saying everybody go out and stop everything and start prepping, but I mean, it would not be a bad idea to just maybe get some stuff together.
Yeah. Obviously I'm on the boat that I don't want to see the society collapse. I don't want to see government collapse. I don't want to see people divided. I don't want to see, most of the stuff that we talk about, I know sometimes we make it sound like it's coming true, but we don't want him. We don't.
A lot of times it doesn't come true because we're talking about it and we're fighting back in the information war. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
Oh yeah, definitely. Okay,
for
your
sure.
thought?
No, I mean, my final thought is, stuff like this, guys, for those guys watching at home, is why we do this show. It's why we need to do what we do and talk about what we need to talk about. Because at the end of the day, stuff like this, the movie, like it's trying to divert us away from truth, right? And it's trying to divide us. And because what causes division? Deception. Deception is what causes division.